Today, we're gonna be checking out the Jeep licensed by Red Rock HD tubular rear bumper with the Jeep logo for the 2007 to 2018 Jeep Wrangler JK. This bumper is gonna be an ideal upgrade for any JK owner looking to add a rugged, trail-ready style to the rear of their ride, while also gaining some dependable protection. Whether you're into off-roading or taking that Jeep on the trails, or you just want the rear end to look more aggressive with this true Jeep branding, this bumper fits the bill with a solid construction and a clean OEM-inspired design. This rear bumper delivers a high clearance tubular design that offers improved departure angles and added protection to the rear corners. It comes with a pair of integrated D-ring mounts and includes the D-rings themselves, making recovery operations safer and more secure when you're out there on the trail. This official Jeep logo is very pronounced right in the center of the plate of the bumper, giving you a branded style without being too over the top. It also features a built-in step area for easier access to the cargo or the roof rack for your gear. And since it's a direct fit replacement, it reuses your factory mounting points and is fully compatible with the factory tow hitch setup. This bumper is built from heavy-duty steel tubing and plating, and the bumper features black powder coat finish that helps resist rust, corrosion, and dinging from that trail debris. The steel structure is strong enough to take light impacts from rocks or brush without deforming, which is going to be key for those serious off-roaders. The welds are super clean on this, and the Jeep logo is precisely cut, and overall the build quality just feels really premium and well thought out. You're getting a durable rear bumper that's made to last years and ready for the trail. As far as pricing goes on this, it's coming in right in that upper 500s price range. For a high quality steel bumper with the Jeep branding and off-roading features like the D-ring mounts and the D-rings that it comes with, it's sitting at a very affordable price point. Installation on this is very straightforward, so we're rating this a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and you can have this installed in just 2 hours of your time. It mounts directly to the factory locations with no need for any cutting or modifications, and all the necessary hardware is going to be included right in the kit. So now let's see exactly how that install process goes with an install video from one of our extreme terrain customers.
So the tools we used for this was the ratchet, obviously. We used a deep socket 18 millimeter. As well as a 19 millimeter for the lug nuts, and we used also some shallow socket 16 and 18 millimeters as well. The tow recovery hook, we used the breaker bar, and then we also used just a crescent wrench to assist us in that as well. First steps first is that we're going to have to take off the spare tire, and we'll simply do that by using the lug wrench and pulling the tire off and going from there. So after you remove the spare tire, the next step is to remove the bolts that you can see in the camera frame here using a 16-meter socket and a ratchet set. We may go to a breaker bar considering this Jeep has 80,000 miles on it and it's never had the bumper taken off before. So we'll see what we can do with the socket wrench first, and we'll move to the breaker bar if we need to use it. Alright, so one thing we found that the directions didn't state that there are bolts on the back of the bumper that look like they need to be removed as well. That's bolted right here to the frame. You can see the hitch is over here to our right a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to be able to put this with the hitch on or not, but we're going to leave the hitch on for now and see how we do when we install the bumper. But for now, we're going to remove this one over here, and there's another one on the driver's side as well. And as you can see, we just pulled the bumper off. Had to do a little maneuvering of these clips right here. These were the clips that were in the back here that we had to unscrew or unbolt as well, but it did slide off pretty relatively easily. The other thing that we're finding with the instructions here too is that the recovery hook is attached to the bumper, to the frame here, where you need to slide in these guys right here so you can appropriately attach your bumper. It looks like it's going to have to be a possible permanent removal of it, so I'll have to come up with other arrangements to have a recovery hook. However, in order to make this bumper work, we'll have to remove this guy here, so we'll see how that goes. So we're finding that this recovery hook is a little bit of a pain in the butt. I got my son working on it. We've been using purely a breaker bar. As you can see though, there are 4 bolts holding it in, or sorry, 3 bolts holding it in. 2 are on the side, 1 is on the bottom. We've taken the one off the bottom and he's working on the ones on the driver's side here. I'll try to get some filming in here where you can see where he's working on here. But 80,000 miles, a little bit of rust on it. We did have to spray a little bit of WD-40 on it to loosen it up a bit, but it is coming off, and we should have some clearance here to put in the mounts for the bumper. One thing we will do after we get this off here, we are going to, since we spent some time undercoating the Jeep earlier this year, we didn't do this part here obviously because the bumper was in the way, so we're going to do some quick sanding, and we're going to go ahead and hit it with some Duraliner and seal it up and make sure we don't have any continuing rust issues here, because we did find some areas of these bolts especially that were pretty severely rusted after 80,000 miles of use. But it is coming off though, and we are working with it, and we'll go from there. So we're going to skip ahead a couple of steps here to step 5 in the directions, and we're going to thread the 1.5 by 20 by 1.75 inch bolts in with a 3.5 inch flat wash, or 3.5 flat washers, and thread the holes in the spare tire relocation bracket, and we'll tighten those into place. The next thing we'll do is slide this mounting bracket in here so that the holes are showing right through here. And we'll simply repeat for the other side. Alright, now the time has come where we'll go ahead and lift the bumper and put it onto the back of the Jeep here. As you can see, the outside of the bumper goes around the outside of the frame here. And the next thing we're doing here is we have the 18mm bolts threaded with a washer, a flat washer, then a lock washer. So while I was lining these ones up here, my son was lining the ones up on the other side. It really helps to have a buddy working with you on this here to make life a little easier, so we don't risk stripping of threads or anything like that. Alright, the next thing we need to do is just take the extension plate here and thread this on, and we'll do so simply just putting this on like so. And then we'll take a lock washer and a nut and put them on each side. So we're just going to tighten this down with a 19mm socket. So this is a 33-inch tire. You can see that it blocks the brake light with the bracket on, so we're just going to simply take the bracket off and put it on as is. We have plenty of clearance underneath here for the tire. That shouldn't be an issue for us. So we'll go ahead and we'll try to reinstall it that way. Make sure we get that thing started. We're rolling. Now obviously we should probably be using a torque wrench to torque these to the proper torque, but we won't do the best we can here, and we'll set that up later. I think that's good enough. Alright, so that's the install for the bumper. I think it looks pretty good. I like the it matches the front bumper. We also have a Red Rock bumper up front, and I think it matches pretty nicely as well. The last thing we need to do is just install the D-rings, and we should be all set, or the D-shackles, and we should be all set together. Alright, so the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to put on these D-shackles here. Very simple task of just threading them in like so.
Alright, that's going to wrap up our review and install of the Jeep Licensed by Red Rock HD tubular rear bumper with the Jeep logo for the 2007-2018 Jeep Wrangler JKs. And for all things Jeep, keep it right here at Extreme Terrain.